For great ideas and practical tools you can start using tomorrow to grow your business and separate you from the competition, you've come to the right place. If you're into B2B marketing and sales, then welcome to the one and only B2B Marketing and Sales Podcast. With over 60 and counting total years in the trenches of businesses small and large, they have a plethora of knowledge and experience that generate you more leads, capture more clients, ring up more sales. Well, doggone it, just make you more money. How about that? Always thought-provoking, yet dubiously entertaining. Please welcome to their respective microphones across 3 time zones, your co-ringmasters, the Dave Loomis, and not the rock star, Steve Miller.
We're rolling. Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. Here we are once again at the welcome to the B2B Marketing and Sales Podcast. The one and only.
That's it.
One and only David Mayo Loomis with me, Mr. Voice. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
The Dave Loomis.
Yep. There you go.
There it is. There it is, folks. There it is.
Absolutely.
And who is this? Who is this co-host? Who is this great-looking guy?
I am Dermot I am Steve Miller.
Dylan McDermott. No.
Dylan McDermott. That's who I am.
No.
I am Steve Miller, better known as Callie's dad, marketing gunslinger, not the rock star.
Are you the rock star?
I am not
Steve Miller?
the rock star.
You're not.
I am
Darn
not
it.
the rock star.
Darn it.
Yeah, I know.
You don't fly like an eagle?
Well, I do fly like a squirrel sometimes, a flying squirrel sometimes.
Okay.
But,
Arms
not
stretched.
Not an actual real eagle. That can super fly, be a super fly.
Gotcha.
So
love flying squirrels.
So we have we have kind of an interesting topic today. Would I call this a soft topic? I'm not sure. Anyway, our topic today is marketing and art. Now, you notice I said is marketing an art, not is marketing art.
I heard you say that. You say that.
I actually both would probably work fine. So
yeah, I was thinking of the latter.
If you want to climb that ladder, then
marketing,
we can do that.
Art.
Mm-hmm.
I think to get it out of the way, I think that good marketing is an art form, and you can be really bad at it, or you can be really good at the top of your game at it. But my main curiosity for us to discuss is the output of that marketing. Could it be considered art? Okay. There's a lot of beauty in the work that we all do, and also not in many cases. But does it matter? Does it matter at all?
Well, so as I understand what you're saying is and don't pay no attention to this unhappy cat that is.
I don't hear the unhappy cat.
You will hear him in just a moment. He just came into the office, so
okay.
He's what I'm hearing is so like marketing from an art perspective. If we think about consumer marketing, B2C, all right, marketing, yes. You see a lot of very flashy commercials. You see a lot of very wild designs. You see a lot of colors. You see a lot of animation. You see a lot of movement. And all this stuff that are very common in consumer marketing and advertising.
Sure, or maybe if you think about print advertising and you think about the Absolute vodka ads when they first came out, they're very austere, stark, minimalist, almost Andy Warhol-ish.
Yes.
And very impactful at the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And gained a lot of attention through that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So now now when you say is it art, are you also then saying like as compared to science, art or science?
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm
Okay.
just and maybe it's semantics, but we could also say it, our aesthetics, which I would define as in this case really good design, high design.
Mm-hmm.
How important is that to B2B marketing, to successful B2B
Yeah.
marketing?
Yeah,
Or doesn't it
I was
matter
kind of going in that direction.
at all?
Yeah.
Because you and I have been in business quite a while, and being in B2B, and especially in industrial B2B, you and I have both worked with companies that, we get to do some of the fun stuff, but we've come in contact over the years with things that are very very sort of standard issue. We know that to sell things, there have to be spec sheets, and there have to be all sort of sell sheets and things like that go out to distributors and dealers and Salesforce and
Mm-hmm.
and all that. And some of it, frankly, looks like crap.
Yeah.
But that might not matter, because maybe it's just information.
Well,
But when it gets in the hands
yeah.
of certain target market buyers, maybe good design can make an impact.
So do you think then that the that it is more of a decision based on who the target market might be, versus just in general thinking about bringing a better a higher level of design into your communications?
It's a great question, and I don't know. I think it's a combination of sensitivity to that, or appreciation for that, by a company or a leader or leaders of a company, historically, culturally, etc. And also their assessment of how appreciative a target market would be. So let me give you an example. I'll give you an example I know about, and it actually goes to the product itself, not just sales materials or marketing materials or anything like that.
All right.
So I worked, and I've talked about on this show for a long time, about forklift trucks and working for Hyster and Yale for a long time. And Hyster, Yale, for many, many years, both companies, before they came together and then when they did come together, I would say, the design of the product itself was extremely practical and utilitarian. So, and safety oriented, I might add. But I remember a conversation once. There's an overhead guard that goes over the driver's seat. That's what that's called. The cage that goes over is called the overhead guard. And the forks go up in front of that.
Okay.
And that's in case something falls off of the forks or a shelf. It protects the driver, or if there's a rollover. Now, I remember seeing a design once that the engineers and designers really, really wanted to do. And it was a continuous bar that went from the base of the forklift truck up over the driver. It curved up over the driver. And I remember this whole conversation about how much that was going to cost. I mean, it just transformed the appearance of this forklift truck. I mean, it made it look so much more contemporary, so much more, if I were looking at it, I'd say, wow, that's a really forward-looking company, etc.
So would you say that was a design that brought kind of a cool factor?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it got canceled.
Got canceled.
Yeah, because it costs too much.
Cost too much. Sure.
It costs too much than two pieces that got welded together. And when they got welded together, it had to be a square weld, so that it went up straight in the front, straight over the top.
Mhm.
And it looked like something from the 1950s, even though it was in the 2000s.
Right. Right.
Meanwhile, and this is the interesting part of the story, our competitor Crown, which is in New Bremen, Ohio, not too far from me, is a company just completely obsessed with design and appearance and ergonomics. In fact, sometime when I was working at Heister Yale, I was at the Modern Museum of Art in New York City, and I was at an art exhibit. And sure enough, I mean, it was sponsored by Crown. And I'm like,
Oh.
wait, there must be something wrong here. No, it was sponsored by Crown forklift trucks.
Wow.
And their products, absolutely beautiful. And you look at them and you say, wow, now there's a forward thinking company. It gave them the edge that, you know, they were more innovative in the warehouse space where they played. It's just a very interesting, of course, all their marketing materials also extremely well designed,
Mm-hmm.
with that eye, and so forth.
So where are they now?
They're still very successful,
Okay.
and they're holding their own despite the fact that Heister and Yale targeted them to take a lot of share away in that segment of the market. And I haven't seen the share numbers recently to know exactly where they are, but they are still doing very well, coming out with new products, etc. So I don't know. I think it's kind of an interesting question to me. Just something that,
Yeah, I think it's a legitimate question to ask, because I'm often involved, like right now, you know, with one of my new clients. I'm involved in them hiring a new, you know, web design company.
yeah,
Okay. And in the past and up until now, from my perspective, I have always been much, much more focused on message
right.
than I have been about design.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking specifically about B2B.
Sure. Right.
You know, I mean, you know, those rare instances where I do work with a B2C, yes, design is a huge part of that.
Yep.
So we've been having these conversations with a couple of different, you know, design companies, and one of them kind of came in with this idea of this really, you know, kind of super well designed website, and that would look nothing like any of their competitors' websites. You know, the competitors' websites are very utilitarian. You know, they're very,
yes,
know, boxy. You know, here's a box with information. Here's a box with information. You know, stuff like that. You know, and I mean, they're all pretty much the same. You know, and so now these guys are coming in with a pretty, I mean, for this world, right? For
yes.
this B2B world,
yes,
it's pretty radical.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think of it?
And I'm kind of torn by it. I'm of the ilk that I would probably want to go out and show some designs to customers.
Test it.
And at least,
like our moonshine we were talking about last.
Yeah, you know, kind of treat them like a focus group or lab rats or something like that, and just kind of say, hey,
does it matter? Ask them.
You know, does this matter? Does this add value? Does it do nothing, or does it even take away value? You know, and so we'll see if they let me do that. But see, I'd rather go talk to the customers and find out what they think.
Yeah,
my sense. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I think it's a good idea. Yeah. What's your sense?
Yeah, my sense is that they're going to say they don't care. That's my sense.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I learned a long time ago, that the moment I start believing my own press releases, I'm in trouble. So I'm always pushing myself to, I really need to ask.
Yeah.
Because I could have sat there and said, yeah, I love this. This is really, really great. This is awesome. And my client probably would have said, yeah, we think it's kind of cool too. So, yeah, let's listen to Steve, and these guys, these guys know what they're doing.
You could have tipped it over the edge, and it might have flown. That's interesting. I also wonder, when we ask people about things like that, like design, I have found that when I interview people about their decision making, it's kind of hard for them to assess something like that. One, because it's a little bit subconscious, but the other reason is because I don't think people that are decision makers want to admit that anything other than logic, a price value calculation in their head, is what they use to make decisions. I doubt you're going to find somebody say, I know that this product is a good deal at a good price, but I'd pay a little more because this is really cool looking.
And of course, when you get it, when you factor in, we are still humans marketing to humans. Mm-hmm. Humans are emotional.
Yes.
And we all know that age old, saying, people buy on emotion and they justify with logic. The question that I have though,
that's a great phrase. Did you make that up, or did you hear that somewhere?
Oh my gosh.
I like that.
I'm like really the 1 millionth person to say it. So
say it again.
People buy on emotion, but they justify with logic.
I love that.
And that is it is much more applicable, much more common with consumers.
Sure.
In the B2B world, we're representing a company. So there can be things in the company where they can, put together some kind of, requirements that, they have to be taken care of and stuff like that. But ultimately, it's still a human making a decision. And, and so I have to believe that there is some kind of emotional factor in there somewhere. And it can be influenced. I'm also a little concerned, and especially like with this client of mine, that I am much more out there. Okay, I'm much more out there. I'm much more willing to take risks. But I know that not everybody else is. So I'm concerned that maybe we're taking it too far.
I see. Right. Like you said before that you were very concerned with the message. So like everything else, there's probably a spectrum. There's a message delivered in a clunky way that looks ugly, makes the company look bad, doesn't communicate well, etc.
Yeah.
There's a middle place where it's, not bad and you see the message and good enough, etc. There's probably you keep going and you get something like my folks at Crown, where it's a good message and it's delivered in a very, sophisticated way, creative way, without distracting from the message.
And I think that's the key.
But you could keep going on that spectrum and hit a place where the hero and the only thing that's really noticed is the design or whatever else is going on.
It outshines the message.
And it outshines the message, and we don't.
Or it even talks over the message.
Talks over it, or
even
contradicts it, or yeah.
And especially, I think it's 100% true in all marketing, consumer or B2B. But in the B2B world, to me, the message is king. The message is king. And
it's you can't overshadow the message.
That's right.
So you can deliver it in a good way, but don't overdo it. I guess you're going back to something you said earlier. You asked about the receiving audience
Right.
and how much that might play into it. I mean,
Yeah,
if you
'cause I
were
think
selling, if you were selling ball bearings to a machine operator at a plant, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that it doesn't matter too much what exactly what that looks like. It's your message about how well the ball bearings are going to, hold up in the machine.
Are your ball bearings going to not fail?
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
As
Because
quickly as the
it's a-
competitors do. 'Cause
Exactly, because this is a job to be done. It's a tool.
job to be done, and they hate downtime.
Oh, yeah, they not only hate it, they they can get fired for it because it affects productivity and profitability and so forth. Now, here's a contrast for you. And this came up today too, because I'm working on helping hire a new graphic designer for an architecture firm that does high-end interior architecture for corporations, for corporate offices. Okay. Now, this company,
who's the moose?
exactly.
Who is the buyer?
Well,
See,
the buyer is, probably head of real estate, development and facilities, and maybe the CEO, COO.
I was gonna say, ultimately, in a decision like that, you're talking about ultimately upper management's involved.
Right. We're talking about like some of the biggest law firms or consulting firms or banks in the country.
Yeah.
And we're talking about their interior executive office space.
Ego is part of that decision-making process.
So in this case, my client's website and what it looks like and the things that they put out and how well or not well those are designed matters. And in fact, we talked about the aesthetic today, and I said, well, to this person, what do you think? And they said, well, we really like it. It's minimal, it's bold, it really, this is what people, it's very well designed. That's B2B.
It's B2B, but again, it's who is the buyer?
Yes.
Okay. Who is the buyer, and what is the situation that they're buying for? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But because I mean, that's a great example, of what I mean by that. You just gave two great examples. One is the guy who's working in the shop and he needs to get ball bearings. Okay. And his concern is that he doesn't want downtime, right? Because downtime is the worst thing, in a manufacturing facility, is that the machines go down, maybe the ball bearings burned out or something like that, right? And and he is more concerned about that. Okay, these ball bearings, they are not going to fail as quickly as everybody else's. All right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
So he's not going to be swayed by a slick appearance or video, or the ball bearing rotating 360 degrees with the sun shining off of it and something.
If a ball bearing rotates 360 degrees, it still looks the same. Exact same thing. All right. So
so save your money.
Yeah. Okay. But if you are selling something where, people will take it personally,
they're even in living in the space and
even in a
B2B
situation. Okay. Yes. This will be their office. This is where people are going to come in and see them at work. Okay. Mm-hmm, and what message do you want them to get when they come to see you? All right. And also, for a lot of these people, it's what message do they want to feel? Okay. I'm the boss. I'm the president. I'm the CEO. I should have, an office, or I should have, even the floor that I'm on, should be really amazing. Okay. So
exactly.
So I think that's where it goes back to who's the moose.
Yes.
Not just the decision maker, but I mean, even the person who is ultimately the end user, or something like that, where they will have an influence in this. So I think it's a really interesting, that was a great example of two different types of where design, the design impacts, certainly impacts the upper management guys. The CEO in that example has no impact
Right.
on the other guy for the ball bearings.
Right. So I guess part of what if we reworded the question at the beginning to, let's see, is good design important in B2B marketing? Should your marketing be artistic? Those are a couple ways of putting it. And
or
the answer,
when should your
yes, it depends.
artistic?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So so I mean, that's a great question. And like I say, I mean, I'm kind of involved in that right now with the website thing. I mean, one of the things that over the years, and I know we want to wrap this up fairly soon, but over the years in the B2B world, from a design perspective, there was a benchmark put in place in the B2B, in the entire B2B world. And that benchmark was IBM Blue. Think about all the companies who, in any B2B market, whose logos, whose their branding colors, okay, where the primary color is IBM Blue.
Yeah, just sort of leveraging off of the back of success.
Well, but also it was safe.
Well, it was safe, like IBM was safe.
That's the point. See, IBM
and Xerox for copiers.
The IBM Blue became the safe color for B2B companies.
And it may still be.
It still is. But by a long shot. I've said for years that if you go to some kind of B2B trade show or tech trade show or something like that, okay, you better not be allergic to blue, because you'll be dead in one aisle. And it's absolutely true. I used to go around and I'd just take pictures up and down the aisles, and I just go, okay, how many exhibits in here are not blue? And the answer is almost never.
That was the question. And of course, you and I both have. I happen to be wearing blue today, but orange happens to be a color that you and I use to brand, our businesses.
Right. Sure.
This architecture firm that I just mentioned is really sort of black and red, gray, that sort of thing, which is sort of sophisticated, yet again, this bold.
But it's also, which is the primary color? Which is the primary color?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is it the red? I'll bet it's not.
It is really the dominant color.
Then I say good for them. I say good for them.
Yeah, I think it really is. I mean, it's used more than you would think.
Then I applaud them for because that takes a lot of guts to not be blue.
Yeah,
it takes a lot of guts. Although the second color picked would be red.
Right.
Then
a lot of equipment like the forklifts that I was talking to you about, that's a very interesting one, because the product color itself has to be highly visible within a plant for safety reasons. So that's
that
something.
the color of the product has to be the color of the brand, has to be the primary color of the marketing, has to be all of that stuff.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah. So absolutely. So so here's what. Okay, we're gonna wrap this up now.
Great.
But what I'm gonna
short and sweet.
But what I'm going to say is that design, is it art? Okay, I don't know if that's how I would describe it, but what I would say is that you need to understand who the ultimate buyer is, who the ultimate most important influence in the purchasing decision. You need to understand who that is, and what is important to them. I'm
going to plus you.
Please do.
This is what we do, folks.
This is what we do.
So pardon my reference, but it's not all black and white. So if you're listening and you just heard Steve's advice to think about the receiving audience and how they would appreciate or utilize great design or not, you may have different audiences that you're selling to. You may have segments, you may have segmentation, and even my architecture firm has segmentation. So some of these people are high-end corporate folks, and some of them are, we're doing multi-unit housing, units that are pretty basic.
Mm-hmm.
What do we do in those cases? Maybe it's
you have to change your strategy for each market.
Yes.
Each segment. Each segment.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to, even if you're selling the same exact product.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if it's going to a different, like I always use the term moose, but maybe over here you have moose, and over here you have bear, and over here you have fox, or something like that. You have to understand that this has to be geared towards the person who's going to be making that decision.
Mm-hmm. I want to throw just one last thing out,
and then you wrap it up and take us out of here.
Just kind of funny,
yeah.
And it's more consumer oriented.
Okay,
but I just remembered this. I met a guy. Can't remember the name of the firm, but it was one of the biggest direct marketing firms based in Chicago. Back in the day when there was a lot of direct mail that was coming to your house that you had to open. It's actually making a comeback now because there was almost none of it.
All of my B2B clients are using direct mail.
What comes around goes around. And, this person told me that many of these pieces, these sort of packages, were intentionally not designed well. And by that, he meant it's supposed to look a little schlocky. Think of all the little inserts, you get from AAA still, or right. You might get from Publishers Clearinghouse, or, things like that. It's a letter, and it matters whether you indent it, and always look at the PS or the PPS, right, or all that, because that's what's read, and and that's a science. Talk about art versus science. That is a science.
And I'm very fortunate to have been involved in a lot of that stuff.
I know you have, and they create the control, and the control ends up,
then you beat the control.
And then you beat the control, and design in many cases has nothing to do with it.
Well, but it's a different way of looking at design.
Right. It's a different way of. It might not look beautiful. You wouldn't frame it and say, "Oh, this is art."
Well, for example, the main thing that there's only one thing when you go to your mailbox and you pull something out and you look at it, they have only one objective at that moment.
Yeah.
You have to
don't throw it right away. You don't throw it right away. Yeah, you got to open it, and then
you don't open it, you throw it away.
Right. So the first thing is opening it, the second thing, and the third thing. And
everything it's a progression.
We should talk about this. We should do it. We should do an episode talking about this. It'd be fun. I will take us out. This has been the B2B Marketing and Sales Podcast with the Dave Loomis, also known as The Voice, I guess, and Mr. Steve Miller, not the rock star to my disappointment, but he is Kelly's dad and a marketing gunslinger and a lot of other things. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
We will see you next time. If you have any comments about
Subscribe.
this topic or any, subscribe, send us a note. We are so findable, folks. We are so findable, and we engage with people that engage with us. We love hearing from you
because we're
Thank you.
lonely.
Steve is lonely.
I'm lonely.
I'm not.
You're not.
I'm
You
going
have
out for
friends.
drinks. I'm
You
going
have
out for
friends.
drinks right now with my friends.
I'm,
Yes,
I'm,
exactly.
I'm a little jealous about this. So
Yeah. Well,
okay,
Steve. Okay.
see ya.
Well, have a good one, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the one and only B2B Marketing and Sales Podcast, the source for B2B marketing and sales insight. If you enjoyed the podcast, please be sure to subscribe and leave these old guys a 5-star rating. Check the show notes for any links and contact information. You can always contact us by going to b2bmarketingsalespodcast.com. Thank you, and keep on marketing, keep on selling.